You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, go for it then.
Hi, and welcome to the relationship room. How are you doing, Mo?
I'm doing well, Ada. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm good. So today I'm being joined by Mo, who is a fellow Nigerian diasporan. Pro. Like
Woohoo.
emphasis on the pro. Emphasis on the pro, like Pro Max.
Pro Max.
Who's not yeah, who's navigated career highs and relationships, reality in the U.S. Mo, tell us a little bit about your journey. What's one thing that surprised you most about building life here? By the way, guys, before you start, Mo, today's episode is really on diaspora money,
Yeah.
ego, and bonds. So
Mm, mm,
that's what we're gonna be, talking about. So our wonderful pro diaspora Mo.
mm.
Okay, yeah, let's dive right into it.
So when you say about building life here, is it US or Korea? Actually, I'm on two international time zones right now.
U.S. U.S.
Look at me.
Yeah,
Look
by
at
the
me
way, Mo
being
is in Korea right now,
South
so
Korea. Ah,
she
well,
she she ran away to Korea,
you know
but
how
it's
people,
only
how after Trump got into power, people always say, I'm gonna leave the US. I finally
exactly.
did it.
Mo ran away, but she's gonna be back.
I'll
She's
be
gonna
back.
be
I'll be
back.
back. I'll be
Yeah,
back.
she's gonna she's not gonna run forever. She has a time limit on her
Even though
running.
I love it here. Okay. Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. My journey where I moved to the US, it's been what 14 years now. My goodness.
Wow.
Like many in the Nigerian diaspora, I came for school and stayed for opportunity.
Mhm.
And I moved here in my 20s, so it felt like I was constantly translating myself, not just the way I spoke, like my accent, but how I showed up at work, made friends, and built community. But I think one thing that surprised me the most about being life here is how individualistic everything can be.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
I mean, back home, your identity is collective. The moment you are born, aunties, cousins, church members, neighbor, malam,
Yeah.
aboki,
Gates man.
yatawa, yeah, busy, you only rice,
Yeah.
everyone has a
Mhm.
stake in your story, whether you like it or not.
Mhm.
Here, you have to build your village from scratch.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'll admit it's both freeing and lonely, right? Career-wise, I've also learned that success in America isn't just about working hard. You have to advocate for yourself and build that network. But
Yes.
in Nigeria,
Network community.
your work speaks for you. But here, you have to speak louder than your work. Like have the balls of a
Yep.
white man, you know.
Mhm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then relationship, whew, that's a whole nother curriculum. I've realized that
Mhm.
cultural, expectations around love, even friendship here are so different. You're constantly balancing your
Different.
roots with the realities of who
Mhm.
you are. So I just say, being part of the diaspora has made me more intentional
Mhm.
about what I value. Like my faith as a Christian, it has
Yeah.
deepened here, in the sense of growing up in Nigeria, you kind of take it for granted because you're born in a Christian home. You
Mhm.
don't question so many
Yeah.
things. Yeah,
Mhm.
I lost my faith here in the US though, but I gained it back. But it became something I had to find myself. It wasn't that collective insurance, under my
Mhm.
parents,
Mhm.
policy. Yeah. So in short, what surprises me here is just belonging is something you find. It's something you have to build, by yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah. So.
So how was it like navigating through? I know you talked about being intentional. That's
Mm.
the one word that I think a lot of people struggle with.
Mhm.
So what is the one word that you can share, right? That helps anyone who needs to be intentional. So when you say intentional, can you break it down? Like, what is the foundation? What's the root that leads to, you know, being intentional?
Hmm. That's a very, very good question. I would say that if I were to, answer a question, like looking for that one word to
Mhm.
that captures that, I would say it's awareness. You
Awareness.
know, awareness.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that. Yeah.
Awareness, situational
Mhm.
self,
Mhm. Mhm.
awareness.
Mhm. Wow, that's a good one. That's a
Awareness.
good one. Yeah, yeah.
You have to be aware. You have to be aware.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll be so back behind.
Yes,
You'll be so
yes.
behind. I felt like I grew up a lot more in the US. Don't
Mhm.
get me wrong. Even if I stayed in Nigeria, I'll grow up. But the way I'll grow up will be different. I mean, Nigeria they carry last now, as you know.
You know
But
where you're
here,
from. Mhm. Mhm.
And then your bukata, like Yoruba will call it, people you're fending for. Everybody thinks that now you're in Obodo, America. You're plucking money
Yeah.
from the tree. Like, how now? So, awareness. So, is that the soil intention, where it grows? Yeah. So, yeah, that's my own word. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's a really good one. So now let's just dive in a little bit about with that awareness that led to intention, right?
Yeah.
And led to you just being very in control of the factors that that affected your growth. How has this translated to finance? Finance. Yeah.
Sister, did you dream about me overnight? This is the way you're shaking.
Your financial decision, your financial experience, your financial world. How did that all, how did that intentionality show up?
Let me just say, I know how to make money.
Yeah.
I just used to have, okay, I'm not someone that will borrow money to be doing obli. That's never been me. There's nobody that come and say I'm owing her money. I'm owing apart from credit card, it is different. Everybody's owing money at this village, or mortgage payment. That one is different. Well, owing money, sensible borrowing. But I borrow money from somebody to go and do obli. I've never been that kind of person. I never go beyond my means. Except with my husband, because that's different. That's like sugar daddy level. So that was should not listen to this episode. But I would say that before I moved to the US, I just had this, a little bit of a dark history about me. I didn't think I was going to live up to my 30s. There was just something. Oh. Yes. I just had this romantic relationship with death, which was kind of negative. I've gone through deliverance for that, by the way.
Yeah, that's good.
But I didn't think I was going to make my 30s. I always had this, hurry through life, and just do the most I can do with my time. So if anybody met me before my 30s, I was even way louder than this and very, rambunctious about life. What that meant was that I'll make money and I'll spend it. I'll save a little, but I didn't have that saving. What are we saving for the rainy day? Whichever rainy day, let's enjoy today's sunshine. That was my policy. Now moving to the US, where there's that perception of you have money because it's OPM, other post money. Yeah, we don't have it for credit card. the first day, I think credit card. Okay, when I was in grad school, and I debated when I opened, bank account and all that. I remember one of my seniors who's Nigerian taught me about credit card, and the way they said it was, it's a necessary evil. You have to get it, but make sure you don't spend it, crazy. And I remember the first time I got that credit card, I put it in the freezer for so long because I didn't want
in the freezer.
For
Why?
Real. I just want to touch it. It felt like I was going down with like a loading, like a loaded bomb. I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to touch it. And I remember when I would swipe it, I quickly go and pay. But I'll say that you have to get a hold of your finances here because it's really the foundation of everything. We have that social score, like credit card, your credit score, which also helps with your standing in life. There was a time when I was in grad school, my credit score was horrible, but it was a means to an end. That was when Ty was doing his USMLE. We had to take out a credit card to help pay for his exams. All the interviews was going for residency, so we knew that our whatever was going to go, and then we also had to put credit, our IVF journey and all that into the credit card. So again, all of that we knew, but we built it back, and I would say praise the Lord. I'm no longer in the trenches. And I will also say that consumerism is big in the US.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so bad.
Yeah.
And I will not lie, I've been victim to it, And Tara would always tell me, even though that is on sale, doesn't mean you should buy it. I didn't know how bad.
But isn't it interesting though how
Tawa.
Here in the US, right? People want to buy. And in Nigeria and most parts of Africa, people say people are materialistic, right?
But Nigeria, I think there's a flash in the pan,
because it's kind of like Are people not more materialistic here? Because they have access to credit and they can buy whatever they want.
I think the Nigerian one is, I don't know how to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but see, it's a human condition. It's a human condition, you know. So it's not like there's like geographical zoning with, you know, materialism. Everybody has that problem. Whether you go to, even here in Korea, I say it. But I want to say the Nigerian one, it's in the midst of this palpable poverty. You guys are still showing, you know that this person doesn't have this, but why are you getting this money for parts? That doesn't make sense. You know, that's one. And I also know, I think that for the US one, there's that feeling of it's never enough.
You know? Is that greed, or is that some type of greed?
Okay. So I'm always very careful not to say that, and not to pitch one person, like one country, like, oh, Nigerians are greedy versus, there's greed everywhere, right? Okay, let's break it down. I'm going to be talking about 3 nations now because I've turned a philosopher, having moved geographical zones from Nigeria to US to South Korea. And I should say this on record, that living in South Korea has given me a good blend of being Nigerian American.
Nice. How so? Before you go into the money
Nigeria, South Korea. So Nigeria is, you know, communal, right, to a degree. America is individualistic. There's technology. South Korea is a blend of it. And I go between those two things, you know, being so family oriented and respect for your elders, but also the pace of technology. That said, Korea makes US look like a third world country, by the way, because the way they use technology, Ada.
I believe it though. I believe, yeah, because man, so many texts, so many apps are coming out. Like today it's Sora 2, tomorrow is VO. I mean, yes, I could see that. Yeah.
So okay, so I think let's talk about materialism, right? Let's talk about it. Materialism in Nigeria, I think it takes a different shape, especially among the youth. We're seeing that, you know, visible wealth, quick wealth culture, like fraud, flamboyant display of possession, especially on social media, and showy consumption, you know, like cars, bling bling, and money spraying at events. That's a common status currency.
Yes.
Now, in South Korea, for example, now there's still materialism, right? But that one is they think more of luxury goods and visible status makers. I go to Costco here. Costco is like going to Saks Fifth Avenue, the same Costco that I used to go and buy apple pie. Costco in Korea here, you're seeing designer labels. Wow. And there's a way somebody can look at you from top to bottom. They can judge the kind of money you're making because they're so brand loyal here.
Are you serious?
There's that heavy social comparison. Yes, heavy social comparison. You know,
So they don't do the fake stuff, or do they do the fake?
They can do the fake stuff, but when they spend, and they can put. Another thing here is that when you buy something, for example, you can pay lump payments, or you can spread it. Imagine going to buy a bag, a Birkin's purse, and have them spread it on your paycheck like 6 months across your salary. It doesn't make sense to me.
Wow.
So consumer goods they become a large part of their self-worth. So there's this. I mean, this is just my own. I've only spent 2 months here, so don't quote me as this is not a study I carried out. It's just my own opinion. I feel like there are strong identity issues where what I own merges with who I am.
Yeah, but that also is seen in Nigeria, I think, because
of course.
Yeah, I see that in Nigeria. I think the US not so much, because you can see a rich person just wear polo and just shorts and just.
But Nigeria is different from Korea, because I feel like in Korea, consumption often ties into belonging to a peer group and keeping status within a ultra competitive society. Korea is the competition here, Ada. In Nigeria, we don't compete to be better than Shade, or we compete to be better than ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you going to what university did you finish from in Nigeria?
What UNN?
UNN. Imagine when your JAM score comes out from UNN. They're not being compared to people that did JAM in your school. They are compared to everybody in Nigeria that took JAM that same year. Your ranking is relative to everybody in Nigeria. So that whole thing of your parents saying that person in your class, they have 3 heads. Imagine them saying that person in Jos Did they have 3 heads or 2 heads? And I think also in Korea, there's some structural drivers of competition and Confucian legacy, which they have that collective framework, because you're always comparing yourself to others. So consumption becomes a way to keep up or belong, which is why societal rates are also very high.
Yeah, so I was gonna say that because I've read that societal rates are really high there. Yeah.
Do you know when they always do surveys here? They always do surveys. Among developed countries, there's an article I read that Korea is the only country where people chose material well-being as the most meaningful value in life. The most meaningful value.
Wow, that's a little bit excessive.
But that's what before we think. But that's just the way it is.
Before we anchor there, right. I have a few more questions just to drive us around a little bit, and this is on prenup, right?
Anyway.
So the prenup conversation, right, is not completely out of what we're talking about, right?
We can talk about it. We can talk about it for sure. Yeah.
So we just narrowed it down a little bit. So so you have finances as the overarch, right? Just right in there. Yes, and then now we have relationships. We talked about different countries and how their relationships with money. And now we're coming right to the family unit, right? Yes, especially before that family unit really expands internally, right? So what do you think, first of all, before we even go any deep, what do you think about prenup? And is this something that you think is one? So there's 2 parts to this question. What do you think about prenup? And do you even think prenups make sense? Especially with what you remember, you're the pro. Where,
which pro?
You are the diasporan pro. Plus now you added philosopher from 3 different geographic locations.
I dug that one for myself, didn't I?
So let's hear your words of wisdom, your experiences. What you got to add to this conversation? I'm taking notes.
So, okay, I'm just going to speak freely here.
Go ahead. And
I'm gonna be going a Nigerian who's schooled in the West and is now back to Korea, where it's more of Eastern philosophy and all that. I still wrestle with it myself, because while the logical part of me thinks a prenup makes sense, the cultural part of me still wonders, does signing this mean I'm expecting love in quotes to expire, right? So to answer, I hate to sound like a politician. To answer your question of does it make sense, the answer is yes and no. And what do I think about it? I've already explained it. Culturally, it feels like almost like you're setting up your relationship for failure, but logically it makes sense. And the only reason prenups are coming up, poor people don't sign prenups, right? Let's be real about that.
Well, okay.
Poor people don't sign prenups. No offense to anybody poor listening to this. You can be poor but be rich in spirit.
Disclaimer, we have nothing against poor people. No, we have.
And then I love how we just exclude ourselves from the poor people category.
No!
I claim it in Jesus' name. I'm rich. So I think it depends on the intention, right? So in the US, prenups are often, so is it prenup supposed to? Prenups are often viewed as clarity documents, but in our culture where you're not marrying just the man, you're marrying the family. It feels like you're putting a lawyer in your living room, And did I sign a prenup? No. Knowing what I know now, would I still sign a prenup? Probably no. But there'll be some things we have to talk about.
Yeah, finances, right? Part of that financial intentionality.
Finances and then arbitration. If we're to go out, and I know Nigerian men don't even like talking about these things. If we're to go, because there's something I heard somewhere that the person you married and the person you are divorced are not the same people.
Oh my God! Let's not.
I'm sure you know that. I'm sure you know that already.
Yes, I'm telling you. See, 100% agree with you.
Right.
That is. If there's 1,000%, maybe one day we'll have that conversation. But you're absolutely right.
I cannot wait to hear that story. And I'm not saying that you want to hurt me, but when we're talking about prenups, we're already on a good term, right?
Yeah.
I just want a situation where you can't hurt me and I cannot hurt you. So I understand prenup. That practicality kicks in, and a prenup shouldn't mean that love is unconditional. What love is conditional. So what I just don't like is that when somebody brings it up and the other person is already getting very defensive, at least hear your spouse out or your intended, hear them out. So this, I think we have a guest who wanted us to talk about this, right? So again, what am I? Should be someone that has answered. I'm talking about prenup.
Yeah.
How many answers do I have? Apart from this microphone. So yeah, I get it, and I also understand the iffiness around it, because culturally we're not raised to ask those kind of questions, So yeah, that's my what about it.
Yeah, that's a very I think clean way of explaining it. I also think that when we say cultural, a lot of times it's also tied to
religion. For sure.
Yes.
I was gonna say
and
that.
and spirituality. I think if those factors were not there, a lot of people will make different choices. All right, so we have a woman in her 30s, Nigerian born, and now
40s.
a top earner
in her 40s.
40s?
Yeah, in
Okay,
her 40s. Yeah.
Okay. And then she stands, so we're shifting out a little bit now to just, not the prenup. I mean, we'll probably circle back if we have time. But now we're just narrowing it down.
Oh, sorry. Are we talking about the sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Do that again. Sorry, I thought we were talking about the prenup, but sorry, go back to that one. Sorry. Yeah, do it again.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
So, no, you know what? Let's finish the prenup then. Let's finish the prenup. We're already on it.
But what do you think about it, though? What do you think about it? Do you want to talk about
thoughts?
Yeah, you want to read the guest scenario and then
so a couple in their 40s, Nigerian born and succeeded in separate professional fields in the U.S., faced tension when she proposed a prenup to safeguard assets. He viewed it as a lack of trust, suggesting potential relationship issues. They're stronger now, but continue discussing it, illustrating why prenups often unsettle conversations in our cultural context. All right, so the questions that we, kind of like brushed on was, is it fearful or a lack of faith to request a prenup, right? I'll answer, then I'll let you just kind of chime in. So for me, right, is it fearful? I don't think it's fearful. I don't think now, knowing what I know, right, I don't think it's a lack of faith either. There was something that you said that was very, in fact, that's like the anchor, the anchor of all these things is the first thing that you were doing, smooshy, oh, baby, in the beginning is not the person you're divorcing, right? If a divorce happens, and sometimes it's not even that it leads to divorce or there's even a divorce, but there oftentimes there's a separation, right? Mentally, people are different. Emotionally, people have grown apart, and sometimes right, sometimes wrong, right? People have matured. Imagine you were married when you were 24, right? And then now you're in your 40s.
It's
we
different.
Probably don't think, we don't think alike, right?
Anymore,
we live in the same house. Yes, we live in the same house. And then our relationship with money probably comes from our childhood experiences, who we watched, who we saw, how they spend money, how they valued money, how they did not value money. So it's probably not going to be the same unless we, of course, both share the same type of family a response to money, right? So for me, I don't think it's fearful. Will I do it now? I think I would say it depends. It really depends. And it's not going to be anchored on love. Do I love this person? No. It's probably going to more so, what assets do we have? What assets do we envision having? What kind of business structures do we have in place, right? So stuff like that would guide my decision on that. How about you?
I love your balanced, statement about having just like you wouldn't necessarily do it, but just having like a guy. I like that. I think for me, the older I get and the more I do this married thing, the less confident not marriage as an institution, but the less confident I am in people.
Yeah.
I don't trust people. I have seen, I've just seen love go awry for whatever reason. when I see couples, I've always said, when I see couples, forget about the lovey-dovey. The one thing I would always want to find out, if they're very vulnerable with me, how do you guys fight and what you fight about?
Yes.
I'm always curious to know. I remember someone asking me, that's such a weird question to ask, but that's the only thing I'm interested in. Forget about the lovey-dovey. We've seen that showed on our faces. But you now hear that these people are divorced 2 years. What happened? What do you fight about? Why do you fight? And what do you fight about? I want to know, and how do you even reconcile, right? So back to my whatever, the older I get, the more I'm not very confident in just what I see in relationships.
Yeah.
Now, at the very least, if prenup seems like a big word, is talk about it. The way you talk about finances, how many kids you have, is saying if we're to go our way. I don't know if you even mention the D word, your pastor will say, don't bring it up. Why can't we talk about it? Why can't we talk about death? Because divorce is a form of death. We talk about estate planning, right? If I should fall down tomorrow and die, here's my will, here's my estate planning, here's my blah blah blah. If you can talk about that.
We buy insurance for cars.
Exactly.
That's we buy insurance for cars. It's not like saying that you're gonna get in an accident. Like you don't say, God forbid, I'm not gonna buy insurance for my car, right?
Exactly.
That's the simplest way to understand some of this stuff. We buy. We have to have insurance for our cars.
Yes. We have life insurance for death. Divorce is a form of death. So a conversation around it, and in that moment when people are divorcing, you'll be hearing all kind of extremes about the other person. And you put that distance in place, because when there's a fracture like this, because you have to, guns are blazing, you want to make sure you ruin that person, and what comes first is either the kids or finances. So again, I'll say if prenup is the word that is a trigger, let's have a conversation as to what's going to happen in the future if we are not seeing eye to eye. How do we protect each other from being mortal enemies, especially if kids are involved? So to anyone, for anyone thinking about prenup conversation, you already have assets to protect. There's no doubt about it. Probably you've worked your butt off for it. I say, if you want to bring it up to your partner, then go for it. I don't see anything, and I know when we talk about culture, again, as a Christian, you have to be very careful how you toe the line. I personally don't see a problem with two people wanting to talk about it. But again, I didn't do that conversation because whenever I got married, I was in my 20s. I had nothing to my name. And even I have some small change right now, I still wouldn't bring it up, and all that kind of thing. So again,
let me ask you, right?
Yeah.
Since you brought that up, right? Do you think that if you lived in Nigeria, right, never came to the U.S., never
Probably not.
Korea,
Probably not.
Yeah, so it's something that you probably would not have ever even thought.
We don't even talk about that back home. Maybe the ultra rich circles like $10 and might be talking about that, because it's not just their words, it's also the family heirloom and all that. My father was a pensioner. My father is a pensioner, so come at me, bro.
So let me ask you a little bit more of a personal question now. Right?
Sure, go ahead.
If your husband came up now and said, "Hey, my darling Mo, my Pro Max, lady, my philosopher, I want a prenup," what would you do?
Right now, to be a post-nup, by the way, because the prenup, we're already married.
Yeah, post-nup.
What will I do? Let me see the conditions. I actually don't mind it. I want to see the conditions and all that. And knowing the kind of person I'm more likely to want to bring it up than he bring it up. Because if you know my husband, divorce and things like that, he doesn't really like that. I'm always very practical. Like, let's talk about it. So, but I want to know I want to know what the conditions are. I also want to know what's motivating this request. Is it protection from a new business risk? Is it financial clarity to avoid future confusion? Or are you cheating on me? Let's talk about it. Oh wait, is there some hidden money somewhere you're not telling me about?
Got it.
So again, I feel like even though it's unexpected, let's talk about it. I'm not signing anything. I'm gonna get my own independent legal counsel. I know, I ain't signing nada. I'll make sure I get that independent legal counsel, because that's it. I think it can either be a symbol of distance or an invitation to clarity, depending on how it's introduced or explained. If we just had a fight yesterday, I'm coming today with post-nup, I ain't doing it.
So let me ask you, this is just a little bit off script because sometimes I like to think outside the box, right?
I'm all yours.
Let's say, let's
Mm-hmm.
say, right, your husband just won the lottery,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
$300 million,
Hey, wait.
and
Amen.
and you guys had just maybe had a fight, maybe last week or whatever, and now he comes up and says, you know what, I'm trying to cash this money, and I want to put things in place where I can take care of the kids, but I know you more, you're independent, you can take care of yourself,
Which
and I don't
independence? With
really.
300 million, I'm not independent. I'm no. I'm Control Z that with 300 million. No. In the Guinea. In the independent. No. What am I, Nigeria? No, I'm not independent. But sorry, go ahead with your question.
And he says, you know what? I can give you a percentage, but I do not believe this is community property because by the time when I won this lottery, we were not on good terms. So you're not getting 50%. You know, I would.
According to what logic? According to the law, we're still married though. which this your scenario is not giving. But go ahead.
And then he says, you know what? So what would you do now? My question is not so much if you're going to agree to it, but what would be going through your mind? Do you think that would change the way you see your partner?
Of course, definitely. Of course. So you're saying because we had a fight yesterday, all of a sudden I'm not yours anymore because you've won money?
So now you will start to, second guess.
Definitely. That's distancing right there. It's not for better for worse. Not all of a sudden things better be given. And if he's even lucky, whatever car he drove to go and win that lottery, because every asset he has by the law is 50-50. That car is in my name.
Of people that won, I've heard stories of people that won the lottery and they try to use the excuse of maybe they had a fight, maybe there was some other issues.
No, they should get a good lawyer. Get a shark killer away lawyer.
All right. So, but before we move on, right? Do you think that financial integrity is something that is more prevalent in, and I hate to say men or women, but based on your experience, right? Financial integrity, right? Who do you think seems to have more of that? Do you think women are better at managing money and being honest with their relationship with money, or do you think it's more of a man thing? Do you think men are more able to have those conversations and be more transparent?
Are we talking about in the context of a relationship, like a dyadic relationship, like man and wife?
Yeah.
It depends, though. It depends. I don't have the data on this, but it depends. I would say, women tend to be more cautious and long-term focused, right? We often, prioritize, financial security. We also see money as a tool for care, for family. If you think about it, our social and cultural systems, they limit our financial autonomy. Especially in patriarchal societies like Nigeria, where integrity may be practiced but is constrained by unequal access. Let me explain. Now, women in relationship will often handle those day-to-day budgeting, and we're open more about household finances. But at the back of your mind, there's that nagging feeling of save some for yourself, because if something goes belly up, I just don't like, and that might come off as you being, disingenuous with money. But it's just that thing of have your own money. Now, if you go
that's
through,
why I asked. That's why I asked, because here, like in the US, right, everybody knows how much everybody's making, especially when you're married, right? It's easy to know. But I know in some cultures, right, the woman a lot of times is not the, even if she's making money, she may not know how much her husband makes.
Exactly.
Yes, and a lot of men will, in those cultures, believe I'm the one making the money. Who are you to, try to be nosy into my, my affairs, right? So if she's giving money to other people or outsiders or whatever, she doesn't really know how much is going out. She only knows how much is being given to her.
Yep. And I think it depends on your relationship. In our house, it's decentralized. This might not work for everybody. So, for full disclosure, I have a bank account that I have several bank accounts, but my spouse has access to them, and he has accounts that I have access to. We also have a joint business account, so we know about money coming in and out, right? And we have a joint account. Now, do I go to his account and snoop around? No, but I have access to it. I'm not just that kind of person that the people say, oh, you should. No, I don't. I got 99 problems snooping around somebody's, and I trust him.
Yeah.
That said, there's always, I don't know, even in that trust, I won't lie to you, there are some moments where it feels like, say for example, I do a consulting gig. My first instinct isn't to tell him immediately, not because I don't trust him. It's just that maybe I just keep this in my account. I mean, he sees the accounts, he sees the money coming in, and then I'll be, oh, by the way, this check came in, or he picks up my mail and says, oh, you got this check from Lala Clinic, a consulting work. I'm like, yeah, it was for the work I did. So it's not like I'm hiding anything like that. It's taking a lot to warm up to the idea of it's no longer my money in this marriage, it's our money. Because societally, especially when you see women who have been burnt by using all of their autonomy to men that didn't take that, because to give your autonomy to somebody, especially women, let's be very honest, that's a very dangerous thing to do, especially when you do it to somebody that doesn't have sense. Now, is it biblical? Yes. But if there's no safety in it, it's just foolishness. So before you throw your financial autonomy to a man, as a Nigerian woman, please think very well. Is this person you're marrying, do they have sense? If you're not, they don't have sense, don't marry them. Don't even be hooked to them, because you'll be ruined. And those are the stories, unfortunately, that we hear a lot. This person, the man they got married, the husband said, don't worry, be a housewife, blah, 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 blah. God forbid something happens to the man. The family members come and carries all the dukia away. And they now leave you and the kids empty-handed.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard that story, Ada?
Oh, a lot of times. You know what's
Exactly.
crazy? Even here in the U.S., I've heard those kind of stories, and it's so weird to me. I'm like, how can you be in such an educated, a forward-moving society?
And that happens to you.
And yeah, I heard this story recently of a woman that bought like a truck for her boyfriend. 50,000. Bought trips, and the guy still went and cleared her account.
What?
And she never filed anything, and and she was so devastated, but she was still trying to protect him. So that's why I ask those kind of questions, because I feel like women are more likely to be transparent. Oh, you know what? Oh, babe, I have $40, and this is how I spend it. She may hide some.
Yeah.
Versus a guy don't even know.
But I think
what's your business?
I think that's sweet. But again, who are you showing that to? If the person is not sensible, I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, we shouldn't even have a conversation, because we're assuming that when you marry somebody, you're equally yoked to them. But we know that in our situation, it's not always the case. Because that same vulnerability, people will squeeze it out of you and ruin you. Maybe we shouldn't be talking about negative stuff, but sadly enough, that's the stories we hear a lot, and there's a negative bias with that.
That's the reality, right? So
there's a negative bias with that.
I don't even really look at it as negative. I just think it's the reality that many people face, right? And this is touching on the topic that we're looking at right now, and that's ego in love, giving of yourselves, right? So it's kind of you're giving somebody else your financial, whatever, everything you have financially, but they're not on that same page. How many times it's very common, especially with relationships.
I know women, we like to lie. We like to lie also to ourselves. Like, I don't know, there's just this gift we have where in our head we've already planned everything, but the man has not even gone half of the step you've gone. So be very, very careful. Yeah, be very, very careful. Don't be, painting this picture and the person hasn't even claimed you as your own. Let's be guided.
Claimed you as your own.
Let's be guided. Yeah.
All right, so we've touched on that topic, and then we've also looked at prenuptials, and I think the last topic that we're just going to look at is the mindset and access relationship with money in the diaspora. So, okay, a woman in her 30s, Nigerian born, and now a top earner in the U.S. texting, right? She sends chunks of her salary back home to support her family. The classic black tax pool. Her spouse earns less in his field, sparking quiet tensions about power and perks in their marriage, especially compared to dynamics back in Nigeria. I think we've touched on this, but we just didn't
Yeah.
really touch on,
On
the
everything.
black
Yeah.
tax part
Yeah.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, has black tax eased up for you in the diaspora, or does it still strain your relationship with your
Why are you
parents?
putting me? Why are you putting my people aside? You want them to finally chop me off the family tree? Me that have been dangling on good vibes and inshallah. Ada Zukwanike because
We're not trying to set you up, but we want to just hear, we have so much faith in your philosophies, in your experiences. We want to hear you. We want to hear your voice. So,
I will not speak about myself. I'll just speak about somebody that I know. How about that?
Okay, go ahead. Do that.
Well, has it eased up? I say in my experience, it hasn't really eased up. Sorry, in that person's experience, it hasn't really.
Yeah.
It's just changed shape, right?
Mm.
The thing I've just learned is that these issues will never die out. There's always one family
Yeah.
member who needs something or other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that tension that we feel, that it's not really about the money, but it's about the values behind it, right?
Yeah. And the expectations,
The
right?
expectations, yeah. My fear in life is to always build that dependency, because I don't depend on anybody except on God. I don't want to replace God in your life. The way you are crying to, I'm also crying to God for what's the other. Like, don't see me as your savior.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that ultra
right?
dependent person in your life that you want to reach out to all the time. That's what bugs me the most. Think about how you can solve your own problems. That's my own, push and pull. Sorry, go ahead with your question.
Do you think that that mindset would still be valid if you grew up exclusively in Nigeria?
So, this push and pull you're always doing. Would it be? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe to a degree. I've just never been. The way I've always been is I don't. I'm not saying I'm not dependable, but I hate to. What's the word? Reward that dependency behavior in people. I've just raised. This is how I was raised, right? And I also go into a boarding house since I was like 9. Ultra independent life that I grew up just super independent. I'm also being the firstborn, so you take care of your own problems. That said, there's also that pride of saving people and all that, but you realize that it just gets it gets so old later on. So maybe in Nigeria it won't be as pronounced as this because we're all in Nigeria, right, where everything is hard. But by virtue of you crossing over to the Obodonibo, there's just this mentality people have, right? To that since you're here, you should have more money, right? Back home, you give cash directly, right? But here is, it's different. You're earning in dollars, but emotionally, you're still accountable in naira.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then when you have a partner that doesn't really share that, I think that can be quite stressful. But again, if there's a problem with you being a victim of black tax, perhaps you should use your spouse wisely. If your spouse is against it, then you can help them make you more accountable because people will keep using you and the problems will never end.
You'll never end.
Today is this person's daughter, the other one is this person's brother, the other one is the gate man that.
Do you know what I realized one day, right?
What's that?
You give $10. Well, it might, $10 is too small, but let's say you give $50 here, you give $100 here. So one day I said, I was looking at my transaction history of how much I spent, and I almost cried. Because when you're giving, when you, I mean, that's part of being financially responsible, right?
Yes,
and
yes,
that intentionality. And I'm looking and I see all these money
that you're sending back home.
Yes. And I said to myself, do you know if I was investing this in a mutual fund or a CD
Girl,
or
girl,
yes,
girl,
like
girl.
if I was taking $100 a week, right, and putting
And just
into a
putting it
mutual
fixed. Yeah,
fund,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. In 10
And I said,
years.
yes. And I said, do you know how much that would come up in 10, 20 years? And
Million. Up to a million.
yes,
Up
yes.
to a
And
million.
yes. So that I think for me started to reduce how much I gave.
Back home,
And
yeah.
yes. So I said to myself, this doesn't make a lot of sense. And then I thought to myself, if something was to happen to me here, the people who would take care of me
Forget it.
here,
Forget
right?
it. Forget
Not
it.
the people in Nigeria, right? Not that I won't help, but I don't readily or speedily do that anymore because I'm like, nah, it's not me to give you this $100, and sometimes trust me, it's more than that. Sometimes $200. Oh, I'm looking for 1 million. My children haven't gone to school. Someone just called me yesterday. Can you please give me 2 million naira? And I thought in my head that they're being kicked out of their house and all that stuff, house rent, and the old Ada that didn't have a purpose, financial vision, financial value for how hard she worked. So I've been like, okay, I'll help out. Whenever you pay back, and that hardly ever happens. They hardly ever pay back, right?
Forget about it.
Yeah,
Opium.
yes, yeah.
Otilo. Otilo.
So I said, I had to call her this morning, and with love, I said, listen, I don't have it. And truly, I don't, because it's not disposable income, right? I don't have that disposable income to just readily give. And I said, you know what, I'll see how I can.
Single mom, are you kidding me?
Oh, trust me, it gets worse than that. So, but it goes back to that expectation of people back there. So let's just shift a little bit. Do you think men here in the U.S. get threatened when a woman out earns them, or is that less of an issue from your experience, from things you've seen, people you've talked to? What do you think?
As a rule, I hate all these gendered questions.
I know.
I like these gendered questions, but I don't blame you. I blame our sister for putting this good out. Okay, so it's not to you. Sorry, it wasn't to you. Well, I don't think.
But you know what though?
I know.
Yeah, this is relationship based, right?
I know, right?
These are the kind of yes, exactly. This is the kind of conversations that
we should be having. Yeah.
Yes,
because
that will
again,
have people.
Yeah.
That will have people tuning in to hear, because trust me, this is real life. I know you may not have those experiences, but I've seen so many of it. I've seen men kick women out, go marry somebody else. I will show you, Shebi, because you think you're making more than me. So those things happen, yeah.
Yeah. So I know I talked about the three nations: Nigeria, US, and Korea. So let me lay some ground rules. So in the US, relationship is horizontal, right? There's that equality that is kind of the ideal. In Nigeria, it's vertical: seniority, gender roles, knowing your place. In Korea, it's relational. No, I don't think most men get threatened by a woman out earning them. Let's start with the US. But sometimes, some men definitely feel unsettled, especially if they grew up in cultures where provision was tied to manhood. Yeah. Now, in places like the US, rules are different. Like I said, relationships in the US, there's this horizontal, feeling of we're all equal and all that, at least in theory, right? But emotionally, those old expectations don't vanish just because we've crossed borders. Many men still feel their worth is measured by how much they bring in. Yeah. So when a woman becomes a higher earner, it can stir questions of identity and not just security. Now, some men redefine masculinity to mean partnership, not power, and others are still, in my opinion, I think others are still learning that leadership, in love isn't always financial. And to be fair, some women also wrestle with it. We've been taught to want equality, but sometimes we struggle with that. Now, again,
let me ask you a quick question before you continue. Hold that thought, right? And I like to really understand people's perspective down to themselves, so that I can kind of align what you believe and what you say, right? So I'm gonna throw out a scenario, right, for you. How would you approach it if you're a high earner and your husband maybe chooses not to work? The key word here is chooses not to work, and so his income is probably very low or no income. How would you navigate that? And then,
So
okay, let's say he decides to be the house husband, right? So
okay.
let's make it more reasonable. He's a house husband. He's taking care of the kids, but he's just not earning an income.
Um, let's talk about emotional labor,
Mhm. Yeah.
right?
Go ahead. Mhm.
Let's talk about emotional labor.
Mhm. Mhm.
Number one, I won't be marrying somebody that is a couch potato. So we're assuming that no,
Did you just say that? Did you
no,
just
no,
say
no. I'm sorry, no, we're just not compatible. I don't care how you're giving good dick or anything like that. No, I can't be married to a couch potato. Now, in our part of this world, Bodo America,
Yeah.
cost of childcare and all that. If this person is not working, but they're taking care of the kids, they are dropping them off at school,
Mhm.
picking them up, taking them to their
Mhm.
extracurricular
Mhm. Mhm.
activities.
Yeah.
That is fine by me.
Okay.
As
Okay.
long as you're okay with me going out there to hunt and bring the money. This is something that can work for us and we can define the boundaries. I am not coming home to be cooking. I'm not coming home to be washing plate and washing dishes.
Mhm.
I can pay for a cleaner, but don't expect me to go and hunt the bacon and then come and start playing traditional wife. Because those
Okay.
roles have changed. But when I'm home, please help me to retain my femininity. What does that mean? Massages, back rubs. At home, I don't want to be Oga madam. Because me
Gosh.
going out there and reminding my brain to be all masculine, there's a way it would. So I need you to help me stay in my queen power when I get home. But these are things that between both of you should talk about. Not everybody needs to know your situation. And you'd be surprised how many people are in this, scenario that you just don't know. So again,
Oh yeah.
I have to remind both of us that work isn't always paid labor. If it's managing the
Yeah.
home, supporting my career behind my success, that's real contribution. And let's be honest, women do all of this and more.
Yes.
We still go out and earn money and then come home and be doing those unpaid emotional labor. And I didn't know how pervasive it was until I moved to Korea with 2 kids by myself. What do you mean fair blue?
I'm trying not to laugh
What do you
so
mean?
much.
No, true.
I'm just trying.
No. There's this book and I really recommend. It's called Fair Play. See, all these things you do until a man begins to do it and realize that a woman is, because it's by Eve Rodsky, because she moves the conversation from who earns to who carries the invisible load. And that shift is key in diaspora and modern marriages where roles are less traditional. Let's be honest. If you move from Nigeria to the US, you're not having as traditional of a marriage that you think you're going to have in Nigeria. But the problem is that most of our men still have that traditional mindset in this time and age. How can both of us be going out? There's no auntie, there's no back home we can outsource a lot of these things. It's not expensive to have a nanny for each of your kids. A driver, how much is it? 80k last per month. How much is that? So I'm the highest earner. My husband doesn't work. It's about how your relationship, how you guys are, that deck of invisible cards like cooking, cleaning, childcare, emotional support, family. Somebody's always holding down more than they realize. So
you bring up a very controversial and trending topic, right? Which leads me to my next question.
Yeah.
So, do you think that women, right, benefit more from marriages? And in don't laugh. Do you think that women benefit more from marriages than men? And if they do or don't, I mean, based on your own, experiences, if they do you think that it makes sense why most women now are choosing not to be married? It's becoming very common to find women who are not married or who choose not to be married. Some even choose now not to have children. So, what's your take on this?
One of my biggest regrets in life is that we're not taught, to be sociologists. Because what you're asking right now, the very core of it, is a simple question, but it's so hard. And this question always, stirs something deep in me because the answer isn't always one size fits all. So if we are talking historically, yes, marriage often provided women with access to financial stability, social legitimacy, even protection in systems that don't see them as full individuals. In that sense, marriage was a form of survival. But today, that equation is changing. Thanks to the suffrage movement. I can thank them and I can also unthank them because I always wanted to live a baby girl life. Now, many women now have their own careers. I have a friend that she's gone on so many dates. She's like, I'm done. I don't want to marry anymore. Like, she's done. Because the type of men that she's seen out there, it's just no one. So I wouldn't say women benefit more, but I would say marriage benefits the one who needs it. Whose needs the honors. Some women, that's still true. Let me say that again. I wouldn't say women benefit more, but I would say that marriage benefits the one who needs whose needs he honors. For women, that's still true, but for others, it isn't anymore. Back to your second question, why many women are not choosing to marry? I think not that women are necessarily rejecting marriage. They are just rejecting that version that asks them to shrink.
Yes.
The harder you get, the harder it becomes. Because you are now in your 40s. You have your set habits. You have the home for yourself. You're not finding a man that's asking to be doing 50-50 bow. 50-50 bow. Wasn't it that was telling me last time that a man was asking what you were bringing to the table?
Yeah.
Somebody that they did house naming ceremony for a whole man. And I think they're tired of carrying those emotional labor. Well, also, I think if I've been doing bad and good by myself, I know at least I know that I'm responsible for myself. I can do good by myself. If you're coming to my life, please make it better. So to them, people are not seeing. Way back in the days, marriage was a reward for endurance.
Yeah.
But they don't want to shrink anymore. And then we can talk about feminism and all of that. Yes, it's afforded that pathway where we're not commodified as before. Also, I think. So when women are rejecting that marriage labor because they know that if it's not benefiting them, what's the point?
Yep. What's the point? Yeah. What's the point?
Now there are demerits to that mentality. Don't get me wrong. Do I think everybody needs to get married? Yes and no. If it doesn't work for you, fine. I made sure that when I was getting married, because I never wanted to get married. I think I've talked about it. I never wanted to get married. The idea of marriage was not something that was compatible with the kind of life I wanted to build. So when it became something that was offered to me, I had to make sure that it was going to be a plus situation. Like if you're not adding, and I hate to sound very, what's the word? What's the word I'm trying to look for? Calculating about it, Let me point to your life as well as you point to my life. Is that too much to ask? So if I'm having to shrink myself, give up my dreams, because remember that God did not call us to be wives, though.
No, didn't.
You have vision for your life. Like you're a person first before you're a wife. So I have refused to tie marriage to my identity as a person. Maybe it's why I still struggle with marriage. Maybe I have to I don't know. I'm not saying this is something that is 100%. I'm still a work in progress. I'm still teasing it out. But I've always rejected labels. I hate to be boxed into a corner. I hate to be labeled as just as a mom, just as a professor, just as this one thing. I hate those kind of individual labels because it doesn't really show the robustness I have as a person. Has marriage worked for me? Yes. Has motherhood worked for me? Yes. But I'm not just a wife. I'm not just a mom. I'm not just a professor. I'm not just this one thing. I'm so many things, and I want to keep expressing my life with the many gifts God has given me, which is why being Mrs. has never been an identity that I will seek to the death of me. The moment marriage stops working for me, I will walk out. And I hope my husband doesn't listen to this, by the way. The moment it stops working for me, I'll walk out. But that kind of conversation, know that I have given it my best. And we've had a conversation, and it's it's no longer working. I don't think I'm giving you my best, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the person hurting me. It could be that I'm not even contributing to the dyadic, team. Let me pull myself away from you. I just don't see this serving us anymore as a unit. But best believe that conversation will be had. I'm not just walking away because I've put so much into it. Who wants to start all over again? My name is, my best food is, my name.
Yeah, nobody wants to do that. Yeah.
It's not quite easy. From what I've heard, it's not quite easy to just walk away.
It's not easy.
So, yeah. So, that's my answer to your question.
Well, thank you. We've talked a lot, and we've sown a lot of seed this morning, though. And I'm absolutely honored that you agreed to have this conversation with us, and we pride. Sometimes we poke, and you brought so much to light and to life, and you contributed immensely to what a lot of women are thinking, a lot of men too, right?
Yeah.
Uh, across different geographics. And for that, I just want to say thank you. We talked about money, we talked about ego in relationships, especially when it comes to money and even prenups. Financial literacy, financial integrity, financial intentionality. These are things that people really don't talk
A
about a
lot.
lot. Yeah,
Mm.
but it's the foundation of many things. It's a predictor of so many future events that are gonna happen, right? So I just want to say thank you, and for our guests that are listening, I'm very sure you took a lot out of this conversation, and that you're looking forward to some really amazing topics that are coming your way. We're going to talk
Yeah.
about healthcare. We're going to talk about alternative medicine. I love that. I'm looking forward to the alternative
Which
medicine
one?
conversation.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. We're also going to talk about friendships, breakups, and platonic intimacy. I'm not sure what platonic intimacy is, but
Oh, fine. I'll get there.
yeah,
We should
yeah.
even talk about. We should even talk about sex too. That one too. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna really,
Talk about sex, baby.
I know. Oh, we're gonna break these things down. We're gonna keep you educated,
Yeah.
informed, entertained. We're here to laugh, cry, gist, whatever, just to make sure that our voices are heard
Yeah.
and that there is an impact, there's a value. So you need to tune back in. Just be on the lookout. Just be on the look. We're not here to play around. We're out to give it to you hot, hot, as
Hot,
they
hot,
hot,
though. Hot, hot. I see the
as
hot,
they
though.
hot.
I see the hot,
Yeah.
yo. Yeah.
So
Thanks for
go
having
ahead.
me.
Mm-hmm.
No,
No, go
thanks
ahead.
for
What are you saying?
No, so thanks for having me. I mean, I
Oh
just
no,
love
you're
that on this other
welcome.
side of the podcast, I don't get to play host. It's so freeing to just talk freely and not,
Yeah,
keep some of
yeah,
these
yeah.
thoughts in my head. And to our listeners, if you know me from the More Civil podcast and you've seen a different side of me, I'm still the same person. It's just that
Mhm.
there's a way relationships just brings out another side of you, and these are
Yes,
things that I'm so passionate about. But that
yes.
said, I don't want to leave this conversation to without saying that I believe in marriage, and I believe
Mhm.
that men and women we all need each other, right?
Mhm.
We're not opponents.
No, we're
We're
not.
not.
We're
We're
not.
mirrors, right? We see each other's
Mhm.
gaps. We
Mhm.
challenge one another. We grow,
Mhm.
and yeah. So please, you never hear us bashing men or bashing women on this
No, we're
podcast.
not. No, we're not.
I still strongly believe in, we need each other, men, women, human beings alike. Okay.
Mhm. 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 So everyone, send your thoughts, your questions on today's topic to our social media handles
Yes.
or email for future episodes.
Mhm.
Thank you very much for listening, and look forward to hearing you again.
Yeah, we are currently still at the More Civil podcast on
Mhm.
Instagram, and then at the More Civil po on TikTok. But you can also email us talk to more at morecivil.com, or just check the show notes for all of our contact information.
Thank you. Thanks for putting that out there. Yeah. So this is a really good show. I enjoyed hearing you talk, and
And that
yeah.
you bring out a side of me that I didn't even know existed. But I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. I know some of those personal questions for you on the spot because you
Don't
didn't
worry.
see them
I will
coming, right?
retaliate. I didn't see them coming. I will retaliate. Don't worry. If I have questions for you in the future, don't worry. It's good. It's good. It's good. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a surrogate audience, and
Mm,
if I have opinions about them, sure, why not? It also helps
yeah.
me observe myself because these are things we don't talk about every day. So thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
you're
thank you.
welcome. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you. All right.
And, so
All
that
right.
concludes the show.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. See you
All
next
right,
week.
girl.
Yeah.
Yes. Take
Bye.
care. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.